Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good Saturday evening, to be exact. And welcome to the grand finale show of 2023 of Critical Conversations. Hey, Sinette.
Hey,
Thank you for hanging with me on my last show of the year. We are here a few minutes early, but that's okay because you can tune in, you can like, tag, share, subscribe. Tonight is going to be a walk down memory lane. This has been an incredible journey this year. My show turned one on this network this year. Woo, woo, woo. And two other shows were birthed from this platform this year. And we're going to talk about that. So, God has really been good. I'm grateful to all of you. Sinette, thank you for rocking with me. Simone, you're probably going to
my
catch the replay.
pleasure.
This has been, I'm telling you, I have met some amazing sisters along this journey. And I just want to take the time to thank all of you for watching, for subscribing, for engaging, for participating, for sharing. People don't have to be kind. I am so thankful because you could be anywhere else doing anything else, but you choose to stop by and hang with your girl, and I really am grateful to you for your
Yep,
support.
yep.
Yes, thank you so much. To my sisters, Coco and Quint, to my brother Fred, I thank you all for hanging with me, for choosing me to be where I am today. This really has been a dream come true. I'm excited about what this new year and this new season of my life will bring. We're going to pray. This is brought to you by Polished on Purpose Paparazzi. I'm a whole independent paparazzi consultant. Y'all look at me in here. I put some hair on for y'all. I put a dress on for y'all. Yes, we're gonna take the year out in style. God has been so good, and I understand we have been through some stuff. This year has not been without challenge. However, we gotta get to the point where we say, "But God, I'm
Yep.
still here."
Yes,
Yes, we
God.
many of us have experienced grief. Many of us have lost jobs, homes, relationships, confidence. But God, we are still here. And this new year, and I'm not talking about making New Year's resolutions. I'm talking about just having some revelation that God is still with us, even in the turbulent times. Can you imagine, for those of you who've ever flown in an airplane, the roughest part of the ride to me is when you first go up.
Right.
It's just like, okay, we got it. Okay, it may be a little rocky at first. You may have to button your seatbelt up real good once we are ascending into the air. But once we get into that sweet spot and we just coast into our destination, it feels good. But you can't skip the ascension. How you gonna get up there 70,000 feet if you don't go up, in that turbulent period? And even when you
You're
are up
better
there,
than me,
yes, I'm telling you,
because
you
I
gotta
ain't
go
did
through
it
that.
yet. I'm too scared.
Well, we gonna talk about that.
We gotta
We
talk
gonna
about
talk
that,
about
because
that.
I'm
We gonna
planes
talk
and
about that.
boats. I just,
I was fearful too, Sinette, but I love to fly. I
I
haven't
want
had
to,
a
but it's
long
like,
trip yet.
ooh,
I love it. It's really fun. It is. And we're gonna talk
you
about
gotta
that.
do me like Mr. T. Remember Mr. T in the A team? You're gonna have to do me like they did him.
Yes, I remember. That's one of my favorite shows, Sinette. 18 was
I
one of my
can't, I can't be focused. Look, you need to. I know it might be a sin to drink, but you're gonna have to give me a little nip or something.
We'll see what we can do. We'll see. I'll see what I got in my purse for you.
Maybe I get that little lipstick nip, pretend like you're putting on lipstick, and then ain't no
Lord,
no
you
dip.
telling all the tricks. You telling all the tricks. Let's get our
I
prayer
shouldn't have said
in.
that out loud. Now they're gonna be watching.
Thank y'all for coming through. We're gonna pray and we're gonna get started. So, Father, in the name of Jesus, oh, what a wonderful God you are. We are so grateful that you brought us here to the end of 2023. Thank you for the ups and the downs and everything in between. that you've brought us through, God. You said you would never leave us nor forsake us, and you are a promise keeper. I thank you because even though we were walking through the valley of the shadow of death, we didn't have to fear no evil. Why? Because you were there. Your rod and your staff is a comfort to us. Thank you for divinely connecting us with other people who have like minds and kind spirits that can be there for us as sisters and brothers. Thank you, God, for every divine connection. Thank you, God, for even in the cases where you have moved us away from stuff that we were used to. Now we see that you've done it for our good, even though sometimes you have to pluck us up out of environments that we're accustomed to, that you do that for our good and for your glory. So, God, as we look forward to a new horizon, a new year, a new beginning, thank you for all things new, for the old things have passed away. We are ready for a new thought life, a new mindset, a new lease on life, a new perspective, new confidence, new opportunities, new doors being opened, new ways being made. God, thank you for Trailblazers Network. Thank you for critical conversations. Thank you for My Life Has Destiny. Thank you for all of the shows that are on this network with Tony and Kai, our newest host. I thank you for Polished on Purpose, Paparazzi, and for every person in the comments that has a business. God, let this new year be exponential growth in the area of business, even in our personal affairs. We'll be better stewards, we'll be better budgeters, we'll be givers into good ground, and in our professional businesses, we'll pay attention, we'll do our due diligence and research in our marketplaces, God, because we just want to serve you better. So, God, as we go forward in this recap show of the last of 2023, all I ask is that you show up and lift a bowed down head. Let someone be encouraged and give them the unction to function just a little bit longer. Bless my sister here that's hanging with me tonight, and bless everyone that comes in through the comments, be it live or replay. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Amen.
We
Amen.
got a lot to cover tonight. We got a lot to cover because this year was amazing. The highlights of the year, I'm going to go down a couple of the things that we talked about this year and just touch on a few things. If you are out there in the comments, please let me know you're here so I can acknowledge you. And I ask you to share and tag and subscribe. I have a whole YouTube channel. It is called Critical Conversations with LHG. So I want to build the YouTube platform. We're looking to get 100 subscribers in January. And on Facebook, we're at like 976. So we want to get to 1,000 in January. So help me to get this content, this platform out there. And thank you for all of you who have already followed and subscribed. The biggest interview, I don't want to say the biggest, but I would say one of the most profound interviews that I did this year. It was the first time that I ever interviewed a documentary director slash producer. There is a Detroit based film called Locked Out that was produced and done here in Detroit, where I'm from, my hometown. And it is specifically about redlining in the arena of lending, mortgages, um, rental property, and how Black women have literally been locked out from being able to purchase or rent homes for themselves and their children. Um, Lucina Fisher is one of the directors. She was on one of our, two of our, no, one show. Then we had Summer Crawford, who is a housing activist in the Brightmoor area. We had Lisa Davis, a trusted banker, who I'll be partnering with her later on next year to bring some financial literacy information to you. So, this particular show talked about how Black women, and most of them in this documentary, I believe, are possibly single Black women, to be specific. And here we are with our children trying to find adequate, safe housing. And some of these lenders, these mortgage companies, were practicing predatory lending by giving us contracts that were confusing, that
Yep.
had a lot of fine prints in it. And one thing that I learned from that show, from Lisa Davis, the trusted banker, is that we have to watch what we sign.
Read the fine print,
You
basically.
gotta read it. And if you are not comfortable with it, get an
Don't sign it.
attorney, get you someone who is well versed in the legalities of contractual agreements,
Right.
because what looks too good to be true probably is. What seems too good to be true probably is. So in one situation, um, a young lady was able to move into a home. This home wasn't even completely finished. But because of the desperation, because of the fact that she had a dire need to get into housing quickly, these
No.
these companies were able to convince her to move in to a home that wasn't even fit to be inhabitable. And
Can I
one thing
toss
about
this out there too? One thing that people have to, if they don't learn anything, and I hate to say it, I used to work at a bank, but never use their banker. Their lawyer. Get your own lawyer
right, because
because
their lawyer is going to be on their side.
right,
Absolutely. Even if you have to like some attorneys in low income areas may even have pro bono work. We have Michigan Legal Aid and Defender. We have Michigan Legal Services in the Detroit area. Look up low income lawyers, pro bono lawyers. I know when you hear lawyer or attorney, you assume a lot of money, but there are some attorney firms that do pro bono work or are linked to a nonprofit,
and
and
then
they get government grants to help low income people.
and also especially if you're a senior or disabled, like depending on where you live, they might
Yes,
call it something different. Like where I live right now is called
yes.
a government center. But if you go to like whether
Mhm.
you're Jewish, Italian, Polish, or whatever, black, you have to ask these questions. And they
Yes,
wherever you go to get your like I forget what you go to the .gov. Like for me, it's
yes. We have
Connecticut.gov.
Michigan.gov. Yes. Whatever
So
your
you go
state is, .gov.
right, and then you can also switch over to your city. If you can't
Yes.
find what you need for in your city, they usually have it at the capital of your state. So
Yep, and
you
that
have
would be Lansing for us. Yes. There's so many different programs. And coming up in this new year, Sinette, what I want us to do, even going into Power Hour that was birthed this year, which is 1 hour, 60 minutes of information to help us do business better. And please don't think that because you are low income, disabled, that you don't have business. Yes, you do. You have personal affairs to handle. Please don't think that because you don't have much or you're on a fixed income that you should be counted out of these business type of conversations. Oh, no, 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 no. We're counting you in. Be present and accounted for, because even though you may have a low income now, it doesn't always have to be that
and it
way.
won't be like that forever because
That's right.
you have to educate yourself. So if you have kids, you can educate your
Yes.
kids.
Yes. And even
Yeah.
if you only make a certain amount per month, don't you want to be a good steward over the little so
To
that
what
God
to
can make
make it
us
last the
many,
whole month.
many? Yes. You got to stretch it. So that's what we talk about during Power Hour. And I came up with that, Sinette, because in the last year and a half, those of you who may not know, I became unemployed. I got really, really sick. And even now, my marital status is changing. So all that I was used to, the job, the home that I had, I no longer have. And it's enough to make you real depressed.
Oh
But
yes,
I
most definitely.
refuse to give the enemy the satisfaction because these things that are happening to us, these transitional moments, will not always be that way. And even
Right,
in the midst of these changes, you guys, I want us to get to a place where no matter where we are financially, that we're going to be smart. No matter what status you're in, or how much you have, don't have, we want to show God that we can be a good steward, that we can pay our bills, pay them on time, budget what we have. If you know you only make so much a month and you have your rent and you have your lights and you have your gas and you have to eat and you have a car to put gas in, we're going to talk about how to properly budget and to be careful of impulsive spending. It's so easy to get paid and just go out there and just start, oh, I can get that. Oh, I can get that. And you look up and your basic needs can't be met because you've already overextended yourself. That's the kind of stuff we're
right.
going to get into even more in 2024 because many of us have been asking God to bless us and we want a miracle, Lord, and we want this and we want that. But what if He's saying, what you didn't do right by what I gave you?
Yeah, look, right. We're not taking care of what we got, so why are you
Come
gonna give
on.
us more?
Why would he? Just think about it. Why would he give you all of this surplus when you haven't been able to handle this piece right here to show him that you are mature enough
Right,
to handle the bigger piece? We got to show it. It's the same thing with parenting. When our children want allowance, we don't typically start them out with $100.
right.
It might be five. Let me see how you do with that. It might
If
be
you
10.
lucky, some got $1.
Some
Stop playing.
right. I got money to put in the church, and I might have got like $5. But the parent wants to see, okay, are you saving it? Do you have a goal? Are you looking to buy something? Or are you in the penny candy store just blowing it every week?
Right,
Same thing with adulting. God wants to see how are we handling the fixed income, the limited amount, so he can determine if we're prepared for bigger. Because many of us are so frivolous with our spending that the
right.
money hit the bank, and no sooner than it hit the bank good, we out here buying, and it could be real subtle stuff. It could be Netflix, Hulu, Tubi, Roku, and all that other stuff, Apple Music and YouTube Music. Next thing you know, you got $150 going to subscriptions.
And I
That's
was
still
guilty
gonna
of
be.
that. I had $150 going to magazines every month.
See? We're talking about the stuff that could seem real subtle, but if you don't sit down, and shout out to my church, Kingdom Covenant Church, Pastor David Johnson, Lady Kimya, they had us taking courses in financial literacy.
Mm,
And these courses made us sit down and say, what are your expenses? As of today, where is every cent that you bring in going? You ought to be able to account for where your money is going, down to your cup of whatever you, if you love Starbucks and you're going to get the specialized venti choca mata laca, whatever, cha-cha, whatever you're trying to get, and that's $8. Okay, write it down. And if you're going to your favorite, eateries for lunch every day at work, and that's $10 a day, then write it down. You won't be able to get a plan started if you're not honest about where you are. Where is your money going? And I have family members who are very good with money, and spending close time with them has helped me realize you got to be honest with yourself. You got to make
mhm.
sure you are putting down all that's coming in and all that's coming out. And if there's a disparity between the two where you're in the red, you may have to make some cuts and some sacrifices. And I love hair, nails, lashes. I have done my own hair for almost 2 years now. I have done my own lashes for over a year now. I do get my nails done, but I get a pretty good deal on that. So that's the one thing that I do reward myself or give myself. But if it get that bad, that might have to go too. I have used press-ons before when COVID was going on. So we got to get to the point where we are willing to sacrifice to reach our financial goals. And it may not be comfortable, but we have got to prioritize your
Right.
place of residence, your vehicle, your food, your energy in your home, water, the necessities of life have got to have the first attention. If you believe in paying tithes and offering, put that in there as well. Some people don't, or some believe you can pay that in other ways. I'm not going to debate with you on that, but at least write down all of your expenses, compare it to your income, and see where we can make some changes. Now, this coming up year, Sanette and I, more so Sanette, I'm the student, she's going to get into couponing. I know you probably say that takes too much time. We're going to learn how to coupon with Sanette, the coupon queen, this coming up year.
Yes, God. I'm
Let's
not
do it.
gonna lie, it's gonna take time. But if you what you wanna pay, $400 pop, or you wanna pay that 150? Which
See?
I mean, pay
See?
yourself to save that money.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and and the tag team and what you say, that money you save on coupons, put that in the special savings account. If you save $200, put that in a non-touchable savings account. Every time, no matter if it's the pharmacy, the gas station, whatever, all that money you save, put in the saving account. So you want to get your nails done? Well, I saved me $300 last month. I can go get my nails done with that money. I
Absolutely.
mean,
Yeah.
it makes sense. And I want to also toss this out there because depending on your state, but I know up here in Connecticut they have utility assistance programs and
Mm-hmm.
rental assistance programs. Like
Yeah.
depending on your income, that's where it starts with your income, kids, and blah blah blah. But what they do in most states is they pay your light bill, gas bill directly. So 1 year I had a credit for a couple of months on my light bill. So I mean, again, you're
Mm-hmm.
saving that money you're not paying on your light bill, go in that special savings account that not to
Right.
blow, but in case I want to do something fun, I can go. I want to go on a vacation, okay?
Yes.
I got
Yeah.
$500 in my savings account,
Mm-hmm.
or you can save it for Christmas presents. There's so many options out there for people. You just have to do your research.
And we have to commit to it.
Right,
We got to be committed because sometimes we can start out, the new year. I'm going to work out. I'm going to save. We always start real good that first quarter or so, that first month of a year. But by March, April, May, things start tapering off. We've got to commit. That's why Power Hour is coming on every Monday. And we're going to commit to that. And we're going to talk about saving principles. If you are like in Michigan with me, our energy company is called DTE, and they have I think it's called THAW program. So if you are low income, if you're having some trouble with your heating bills, energy bills, look that up wherever you are. Every state has different programs available, and I
right,
believe that if I'm not mistaken, when it gets a certain temperature, they don't even want to cut people off until it gets warmer again because they don't want people's pipes to freeze.
right.
And people start using kerosene heaters, that causes fires. So
And
if
they
you
also, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, they
Oh
also
yeah.
have the programs attached to that where they'll come for homeowners. I don't know how it works, but if I know definitely a renter, low
Mhm.
income, they have like they test your windows for the insulation,
Yes, we have that
and
too.
they'll come out and they'll like insulate your pipes so your
Yes.
pipes don't burst. They put like that little tubey thing they use in the pool,
Mhm.
and it keeps your pipe warm all year round. Not
Good.
perfectly, but it freezes less when you have that tubey thing on. So
Right.
again, look that stuff up. They have it state
Yes.
to state. Every state is called something different. Sometimes you get it through your capital of your state.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you get it through the city of your state. And I was getting assistance 3 times a year from that, from
Okay.
the rental assistance.
Wow.
And then in the spring, I got a rebate check, and then in the fall, I got 2 rebate checks.
All right, come on,
So
rebate check. And if there's anybody out there, whatever state you may be in, if you are connected to the heating sources, the energy companies, and you can come on the show and give us information. If
yes,
you are, maybe there's a nonprofit that you're linked to that has connections to these programs, I would love to hear from you so that we can bring you on so information can be put out into these various communities. I happen to be in Michigan, but our viewers are all across the country. Some are even in different countries. But I want to get some of the experts in and for interviews and discussions so we can know exactly what these programs are, how to get set up for those because we're getting into the colder season. Um, Also, even when it comes to government assisted housing, if there's someone out there that has connections to Section 8, that's what we call it here in Michigan, or whatever it may be called in different states, come on the show. Let's talk about it. I know right now there's different waiting lists because COVID, man, everybody needed help.
right.
So where in the past it might have been easier to sign up for government assisted housing, now they're setting up waiting lists and they have what they call a lottery where you get a number and you just hope that your number gets pulled and you get to apply. That's how many people are in need because
Sometimes your waiting list got a waiting list.
yes, that's exactly what it is. The lottery really is a waiting list for the waiting list. That's
Right,
exactly what it is. And I'm talking all the major cities in the Detroit area now all have wait lists. So people are just now starting to get calls that they're going to be on a shorter wait list, but who knows how long people aren't moving out of those homes. If they're
right.
not able to get better jobs to get better homes, why would they move? So now the challenge is creating additional government assisted housing complexes. And that's what I pray for, to be able to have enough money to build apartment buildings, to build places where people can find safe
Right.
housing for, according to their income. And this is let's talk about this, Sinette. And I hope this doesn't come off harshly. I feel like it's unfair that just because something is considered government subsidized or low income, that it has to be nasty and unsafe and crime
Right,
rich. I'm
right.
tired of that. Why? And part of the issue is this, and I'm just going to go out here and say it. Dear grandmother who lives in a 1 bedroom senior home meant for just you, okay? You may not be able to house your grandkids there,
And
okay?
I'm glad you said that because me and sister girl, we grew up in that environment. She can confirm how we love these people to death, but because they got grandma, mom, and daughter getting the state, and then the boyfriend getting the city welfare. And I'm just gonna throw this out there, and some of them might be mad at me, but the boys that are getting that city welfare are
Mhm.
buying drugs and flipping them, making money off that. And then we wonder why the property taxes and car taxes are so high
See,
where
that's
you live.
it. Yes. And you
Where-
wonder why the application processes are made even more difficult and people who really need it can't get it because unfortunately some of these family members are sneaking their other family members into these homes where it's only supposed to be for the grandmother or whoever.
And they got like 10 people in.
10, 15 people up in there and
If
on
you look at
top of
their
that,
gross income, They
Yeah,
could have just went and bought a house with their gross
exactly.
income.
Get your money together and go get you a 5-bedroom house somewhere. Because what happens is when grandmama has Junebug and them living with her, they're not working, so they're loitering in the hallways, terrorizing the tenants. Come on. And now you got the crime and selling the weed and selling the drugs in the building. So now you got this, what was once a beautiful place, a beautiful income based apartment building, now is a drug haven.
But then you know what else has changed? Like we're in the same age bracket, but when we were kids, yeah, grandparents did that. But the kids in our generation were bad kids, absolutely, but they respected adults. Like the
Mm.
adults of like my grandparents' era, they would, the kids would go, Miss So and so, you want me to take your bags in the house? They would help.
Yes,
If they see them taking out the
yes,
garbage, they would take out. They say, "Give me your garbage. I'll throw it away for you."
yes,
They see them washing the car. Let me wash your car for you. These
yes.
kids today, a lot of these kids don't do that stuff no more.
They have these right here.
They're always. I remember even back in the '90s, my neighbor kids they would see me with the grocery bag, and we lived right next door. But see, low key, he did that because I had snacks, so he made sure he helped me because I give him some
You was
snacks.
a snack shop.
What? His mom would be like, Sonette, why do you keep giving my baby snacks? Their baby always carrying my bag to the house. She was proud of what he did, but she was mad because he was doing it for the snacks.
But it was
I,
doing it though.
yeah, he did it. And was
He did
always
it.
gave me a hug and always say, when you go to the store, call me and let me know so I can come with you and carry your bags for you. He wanted to
Hmm.
go with me shopping. What 10-year-old want to go with you shopping? Because he know he going to get some cookies.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
But it
I
was just good home training, though.
yes, yes. What I want to see in going back to our discussion about the locked out documentary, we have a large population of single mothers in and around the city of Detroit. Um, when when there is a situation where a mom has to vacate one home, it could be due to that landlord. We have some slumlords in
Yeah.
the city as well. People who want to collect rent, and not all landlords are that. Let me just preface it with that. But there are a lot of people who want to collect rent, but don't want to pay to keep properties up to code. And I've seen people living in mold. I've seen them living in sewer backups, and at
Don't
a
get
certain
me
point,
started,
they
because
get sick.
I'm a blow a gasket if I talk about mine.
Ooh
Hmm.
wee.
And
Oh
they did,
boy.
the renovations they did look worse than what it looked like before.
Wow, that's bad when the renovation made it look worse.
They put new
That's an
cabinets up,
unrenovation.
but the new cabinets look pretty, but they don't work.
That's not good.
The new refrigerator look nice. It's a cute fridge, but it make more noise than that 15-year-old fridge.
Oh my
Make it
gosh.
make sense.
So
That's
some of these landlords they're accepting the rent each month, but they're
right.
shortcutting when it comes to what they do for the property itself. Now,
And
again,
they're
not
not
every
following through
landlord is
with
the
the
same.
contractors.
That's right. Because there should be, I'm sure there's some regulation in terms of what these buildings have to have in order to be kept up to code, whether it's a house, a single home, an
I
apartment
forget what it
building.
was, but there's another code for, because they, like in my case, I
Hmm.
have government assistant, which is
Hmm.
in line with Section 8, but it's not called Section 8. It's all in the
Okay.
same line. But
Hmm.
they have to keep it at a certain level,
Yeah,
you know, to get my portion of rent paid outside of what I pay.
got
So
it.
I mean, I told him, I said,
Got
I
it.
know too much. I said, y'all, look, I do that like, Lord Jesus, don't let me get petty. Don't let me get
See?
messy. I'm
See,
trying to
because
go in
that's
the
guaranteed money. The Section 8 is guaranteed money for the landlord. But if you're not going to keep that home up to par, they can get reported, and then there goes your money. but then the family doesn't want to report it because where am I gonna go?
But and I was just gonna say that because in my building, I'm like the youngest one here. My
Hmm.
neighbors are all seniors and they're
Okay.
from other countries. So a
Hmm.
lot of them, unfortunately, are scared to talk. They don't want to press
Hmm.
the issue. And then they meant no disrespect when they said it, but they say, well, someone's they're in their 80s and 90s. I said, what difference does that make? How
Right.
old they are? I
Right.
said, how are you going to make it worse? Like, I give you one example. I know we're going to talk there, but I have one neighbor who's an obvious double amputee. His apartment is
Hmm.
not ADA set up. They said he has to go and get a special thing filled out by his doctor. Now, with me, I can see you saying that because you can't see what my disability is. You
Right.
just see me in the wheelchair. But you
Right.
have the man here missing two legs. He
Wow.
got to fill out a. You don't have an exemption form for him to give him a walk-in shower and to
Wow.
give him stuff he can reach.
That's not good at all.
And he's 95, 96 W amputee. Make
Wow.
it make sense.
There should be
And
some type of social worker linked up to the building or something that can help
right,
make
but
sure.
if that person is not going down there speaking up and saying
Okay.
this,
Okay. Hmm.
I can say what I can say, but because of the privacy law, they can't go to them and said this.
Okay. Okay.
Because
Right.
just like HIPAA, they can hear what I'm saying, but that person has to go down there and say, and that's
Right.
what I'm gonna say to anybody who has a senior relative or disabled or whatever
Hmm.
who lives in a property like that. Make sure their house is set up correctly. Make
Yeah.
sure I don't know how you call it, like the emergency contact to speak on their behalf.
Right.
Because they
Right.
need someone to speak on their behalf. Because let's be honest,
Advocate, like an advocate of some
yes,
sort.
the most people once they hit like 70, they
Hmm.
kind of just let stuff go. They don't want that headache. Cause I
Wow.
kid you not, it's a headache. I'm
Wow.
I'm fighting now, and if you get a chance, I want you to look at the pictures of my page of the
Hmm.
before and after, and tell me how it makes sense. Where I have lack of storage, I can't even put stuff in the kitchen because there's no cap. I mean, in my neighbors, the
Wow.
stuff that's broke, I can't even take a shower. Let me be honest, because they broke my shower chair and won't
Wow.
fix, and it's not safe for the aged.
Wow.
Like I've taken a shower, but I had to have two people here because if I fall, that one person can't pick me up, and then that one person. That's why I said people have to advocate for their family. You have to advocate for yourself because at the end of the day, and I don't blame the property managers personally, they're there to do a
Mhm.
job. But it's
Okay.
unfortunate the higher ups will tell them, oh, say no, but no, none of them come down here and explain to us why. And I
Wow.
told them, I said, look, y'all don't want me to get started because I'll be on social media live. When I
Wow.
was in a nursing home, I was blasting them.
But that's why they have organizations like, for example, we laid to rest um, a lady in our community, Michelle Felina. She was on the board of the housing coalition here in Detroit, and part of what she used to do is advocate for seniors like her in these apartment complexes that weren't getting um, like you just said. Sometimes the appliances would be out, can't get the elevator to work. These
Right.
are seniors. You would think
And
they're
they're
gonna
in
make
wheelchairs. These people are in wheelchairs and walkers.
sense.
They can barely walk to the elevator without losing their breath. How are they
Lord
gonna
have
walk on the
mercy.
fourth floor?
So we need more advocacy.
Yes.
Within the apartment complex, we need to have connections between the landlords or the property owners, management, and local organizations to where because there's landlord rights and there's tenant rights.
Right.
So we have to make sure we are advocating for the tenants as well as the landlords. Because just like they want to take their money and collect every month,
Right.
you should in turn be providing safe housing, secure housing, mold free
And they
housing.
don't get it. I
Wow.
mean, I can go on and tell you about what I went through, and they tell me, well, I should have had renter's insurance. I say, but the flood came from upstairs. That's not like my toilet overflowed. The person
Wow.
above me flooded. So
Mhm.
it's crazy. Like, I'm still paying my portion of the rent, but I'm
Mhm.
in the nursing home
Mhm.
for almost 2 years. So I'm paying nursing home rent and my
Ooh.
house rent. So
Wow.
talk about an angry sister. I was just like, look, y'all
Wow,
got,
Jeanette.
and then y'all got all this money from me, and you don't want to make things right like they supposed to be. You
Wow.
make it worse.
What I want to do, and I mentioned this on a post about a week ago, I want to have a group of people on the show where we talk about both sides of the
Right.
spectrum, the landlords and the tenants. I happen to know one lady that I know personally that's an excellent landlord. Dana McKellar and Taka is a sister of mine. She has multiple properties in different states. And I got a chance to pick her brain a little bit and ask her, well, why is it that, landlords want so much money for security deposits and down payments and first this, last this? And she said because people are going in there tearing up stuff.
And you, because they have to have it some type of, and she can tell you what it's called. It's just like having car insurance on your car.
Yes.
You have
Yes.
to have house insurance in case somebody
Yes.
falls. Some
That
because
part too.
you hope that they don't hurt themselves. You hope they don't sue you, but you never know. So you have
People,
to
people
pay.
are going into these homes and they don't pay their rent. They get
Right.
mad at the landlord and start tearing up the property. That's unacceptable.
Well,
It's
think
one
about it.
thing
But
if you
look
don't
at
if you're not if you're holding back rent because your home isn't livable, if you're holding it back because of mold, that's one thing. But if you're just
but
not
let me just
paying,
say this too. If you're
mhm,
holding back rent by law, you have to put it in a savings account. You just can't
like a
not
is that
pay.
called escrow? Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's like an escrow account. You have to
Is
hold
that
it in a
called escrow?
separate.
Like an escrow
Yeah,
account?
yeah, it's just like an
Okay.
escrow. You have to set it aside.
Okay.
So once the landlord fix everything, then you can just hand it over to them. So you, by law,
Okay.
you have to
Okay.
have some, and your friend can explain exactly what it is and how it go. Because if you don't have that money, now you can get evicted for that back rent. Cause now your fight is was worthless. Cause you did
Mm.
all that fighting, but you didn't save that money. You can't go back to spending just cause you're not paying rent for 6 months. I mean, you have 6 months of money to spend. No, you gotta pay that rent. You're
And
just
that's
holding.
I think that's what people do. People feel as though I could just withhold um my rent just to be withholding it. Hey, cousin Kid. Hey, my comments just not popping in, y'all. Y'all forgive me. But you can't just withhold rent for nothing. If you are withholding it because your landlord has not provided safe housing for you, your landlord didn't commit to whatever they were going to do, then you need to get some help before you withhold anything. We don't want them to turn around and evict you either. But what has
Right.
happened is what I've seen with my own eyes in certain communities, people are hey, Avery, people are deciding that I'm not going to pay rent anymore. And then when the landlord says, well, I'm going to give you a notice to quit or whatever they do in court, they're now retaliating and now trying to tear the people's property up. That's not right. Or they leave the premises and take the air conditioning unit, take the cabinets, take the, take the
Just the
side.
appliances and all that type
Come on
stuff.
now, people, that's what I'm talking about not being a good steward. If you can rent a property and treat that thing like it's your name on the deed, why would
Hmm.
God bless you with your own house?
Right.
Why would he? Don't you know that even when you're a renter, and ain't nothing wrong with being a renter, some
Ain't
people rent by
nothing
choice.
wrong.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. But what I want to do in this season is, if I do have to do that again, and I'm not the cleanest, I'll say that. I've gotten better. But what I will not do is purposefully destroy
Right.
someone's property. And it's not even mine. Treat it like it's yours. Cut the grass, cut the bushes. It's 25 of y'all in there anyway. You telling me can't none of y'all cut not two blades of grass apiece? Can't nobody can shovel the snow, and y'all in there 30 deep in a 2 bedroom?
Can't nobody clean the windows
Come
or let
on.
muck and gunk on the windows in the door
Grandmama
frame?
got six of her kids, 22 grandkids, and six cats in his 2 bedroom house. It should be immaculate. Y'all probably ain't paying her rent no way.
Okay.
I
It should
want
never.
us to come up higher and do better. Just because you are classified as low income, don't be low class.
Right.
That gets me. I'm considered low income. And I ain't mad about it. It is what it is. But what I will not do is be a heathen.
Right.
I want to show God that even in this situation where my funding may not be where it used to be, that I can still show God that I appreciate Him giving me what He's given me. I can take
That's
care
right.
of it as to the best of my ability, take pride in it, and then do the steps it takes to become mortgage ready, savings, whatever it takes to get to that point, get my credit together, watching my spending, and then, Lord, I believe I'm ready now to own a home. Those of you who live with family, take care of the area that you occupy.
And sometimes, as someone that's always lived with somebody, I was couch surfing. Sometimes you might not have dirtied that dish, but as someone that used to hate washing dishes after
Mhm.
people, because you're living rent free, sometimes you gotta take a L and go wash that dirty dish
Just
that ain't.
do it. It's the right thing to do. We got a comment. Our ability to be good stewards stems on how we take care of things and people.
Right.
Yes. And let me say this. I oftentimes wonder if we have any self-love. If you don't care about yourself, you probably aren't going to care about your surroundings.
But you know
So
what?
if you are renting a home, renting a room, whatever, take care of that.
But you know what we do sometimes? We as people, we'll take care of other people better than we take care of ourselves. We'll make sure
I've
everyone
seen
else
that.
looks good, and we out
I've
here
seen
looking like yesterday trash, smelling like last
I've
week
seen
meat, and everybody else. And I can see you doing it for your kids, but
right.
your kids should always be on point. But you gotta take care of yourself too. I'm like me. I'm the one. I wear the same pajamas all the time. I'm in the
Mhm,
same PJs and headband and so on and
mhm.
so forth. But I'm like, long as I ain't stinking, I'm good. That's what I say.
I
I
feel you, girl. I
I
feel
got my
you.
Febreze and my everything. I be Febreze there, and I be smelling like a whole bottle of Febreze. I don't be caring, you know.
I want to go back to the when we're talking about the Locked Out documentary, and when it comes to women, Black women in particularly, because this particular documentary is about Black women in the housing market. I want to caution people, period. When you are looking to rent homes, be careful and do your homework when it comes to who owns that home.
Right.
Many people have created scams around pretending to be homeowners, and there's dead giveaways. If you see a house advertised that's 3 or 4 bedrooms, 2 or 3 bathrooms, and they only want $500, chances are, especially in my region, that's no. Anytime you
Even
get
here,
they're choosing that. So
yeah.
you can look at the advertisements and you can tell that it's just too good to be true. Also, You can research and look up the house, the address, and see who the owners are and see what if it's a real estate company attached to it. I think I feel better if it's under a real estate company where I can call them and get information about a home. But some of these like Zillow, we have these apps called Zillow, Trulia,
Yeah,
different housing apps. The scammers are now able to access those apps, create housing advertisements as if they're the owner, okay? Link it to their email, pretend to be the owner, have you sending them money, ain't seen the house at all. They want money from you, but you can't even go into the house. That is a
and I'm
scam.
glad you said that because remember how I always keep talking about scam this and scam that. I'm
Mhm.
glad you brought that up. That's another scam for, and they even do it with cars. They go and scam
Yes,
by a car and pretend that that's their car, and that's just some random car on the street.
yes. Everybody, there's people out here in this world who are using their cleverness in the most deceptive ways. But many of us fall prey to it because of our desperation.
And
If you
another
Let me give you
desperate,
one example. I
uh
was
huh.
looking for a rental property, and this is a real red flag. The person wants to rent you this house, okay? They're going to leave the cable in their name, the heat in their name, the cooling, everything in their name. You ain't got to put your name on nothing. I'm going away out of town, or I'm being stationed in another country. I won't be able to give you the key right now, but all you have to do is cash out me, Zelle me, MoneyGram me 2,000, and then I'll send you the key. Don't you
No,
dare fall for that.
because here's what I say, and there's nothing wrong with the Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, nothing wrong with them. But
Correct.
if you need to be there in person and actually meet the person,
Yes,
and
in person.
much as I despise what the cell phones have done, you pretend like you're texting, but take a
Mhm.
picture of that person, take a picture of the
Yes,
house,
yes,
gather your evidence. And if you have not went inside to see
yes.
that,
Flim
that's
flam
right.
shimmy sham is right. That's what that is.
If you haven't walked the house literally, and you gotta be in there, because sometimes, what do you call the people that are your renters technically, but they want to sub rent to you? They want to rent you a room, which it varies state to state. Some
Mhm.
renters can do that, but in some cities and
We have
states,
that here too. You can sublet here.
in some
Mhm.
places it's illegal. You can't do that. You have to be like the code
Ah,
thing. You have to be like equal.
okay.
You can't be the rentor
Mhm.
and then become the renter slash landlord. You can't do that. You're just the
Okay.
renter, period. So,
Right.
and
I
then
think the owners have to be the ones that do the subletting. I'm not sure if a renter can, or if they do, they put you through a application process.
but some
So,
don't do that. That's what
yeah.
I'm saying, and
Oh,
that's
okay.
how they get you for your money because they do the, like you said, the fake applications and all of that.
Right. Right.
Now, not only did they falsely rent you a place, now they got your social security number and everything
Yeah.
on the application.
Yes. Yes.
So it goes to what you said. You gotta
Yeah.
ask questions. If you're renting a room, if you, like you said, if you're not dealing with the, what you
A
say it was, a
realtor.
realtor,
Mhm.
then I probably would stay away from it. Now the realtor is gonna cost you a little bit to change, but at least you know
Mhm. Or a property
you
management company, a legitimate
right.
property management company, and even be careful with some of them, because some of them can be fly by night.
Yes,
We really have to be careful and prayerful when we are in the market for anything. People are out here to trick us, and people are falling for, oh, this must be the Lord and sent me a miracle. No, it's a scam. It's a
and
whole
remember
scam.
another thing I want to toss out there for parents that are looking for like daycare. I don't know if you've seen on the news about how kids die because they had
Hmm.
like, I think I want to say New York. I can't remember. They had like bricks of cocaine on the
Oh,
floorboards underneath the kids. And the kids were
Jesus.
inhaling it and they
Oh,
died.
my Lord. Oh,
And I
my God.
think it was like 2 or 3 kids died and one survived.
Wow.
And I used to work in
Wow.
daycare. When you're doing, especially, there are a lot of good, legitimate home daycares out there. Again, let's
Mhm.
be clear. But
Mhm.
you have to go with your intuition, use your mommy spidey sense. And I always tell parents, I said, if you can't look in the kitchen, if you can't look
Mhm.
in the bathroom, if you can't see where they're gonna sleep, you
Mhm.
can't see, you have to you have to look at everything now. For
Yeah.
sanitary purposes, you might not better walk in the kitchen all the way, but you should
Mhm.
be able to stick your head in there.
But even down to the background checks of the owners.
Right.
If
You
you
have
have
to
to
make
be
sure it's
credentialed.
legitimate.
Yeah.
You gotta make sure they have their license and stuff too.
Yeah.
You can
Mhm.
go to your capital, again, go to the .gov of your state. They have a
Yes.
place where you can do a license research thing. I don't
Yes.
know if it's a fee or not. I think it might be, depending, it could be a little as $50 fee, maybe
Mhm.
$100 fee to find out if said company has a license. And
Okay.
you can check and see if there, what do you call it, any uh like liens or something, any
Yes.
complaints to get them. You can, there's
Yes.
places you can check it on the .gov website.
You have to
So
also do that when looking for housing. If you are renting a home, when I was renting a duplex, I asked the owner to show me the proof that he was the owner, that it was not in foreclosure, that the water bills were paid, because you can lose a home for foreclosure with the water bills being outstanding in this
right,
state. All right. So when you are looking for housing, if you, and I've had people to contact me, I'm looking for a rental property. First thing I say is make them prove that they're the owner. And if
and
they're,
there are no liens on it,
and
especially
there are no liens, yes. And if they're not
if
able to
they
do
told
that,
you they did a remodel. You gotta
mhm,
make sure the contractor didn't put a lien on that property.
I'm
Because
glad you mentioned that. So we have to make sure, and we're going to be getting deeper into this Empower Hour in this new
right,
year, because we are making moves out of desperation that's costing us. So imagine you meeting someone and they go to the Dollar Tree and buy a for rent sign, put it in a random house that they gain access to, either
right,
by breaking the lock, or they watch their house and they know that the owner has left it there for months and months. They don't own it, but they're pretending to. They take your money, put you in the house, maybe even give you a new lock or so. You
right,
can still be put out of the house because
right,
you weren't even lawfully there yourself. And now
right.
you and your family are back out on the street again. We have got to do our homework, ladies and gentlemen. But
Yeah,
they prey on black women with these kids because they know we're so desperate to find a place. And we will do anything to keep our kids safe. And
you
they're
got,
tricking us. I mean, thousands of dollars being exchanged to someone who doesn't even rightfully own a home, or
and now you're
the home is in
homeless.
foreclosure.
Right,
How about that? It's
right,
in foreclosure. You're paying rent to them. That money is not going towards the mortgage, and you
right.
still gonna get put out.
And
Ask me
that
how
goes
you know
back
that.
to how you said we got to do our homework, and you said earlier, and that's why I tell people too. I never liked accounting classes, but let's
Me
be
neither,
real.
Sinette.
We have to take them. And also, I say to any parent, you need to take your child to the bank. And
Yeah.
most banks will, depending how busy they are that day. But if you talk to your banker, they sometimes will set up an appointment with you and go over savings and check-ins with your kids if you don't want to do it. So talk to the banker at your bank that you have an account at and ask them to, can they, because I remember we used to be able to open a bank account with $25. Now it's like two
Yeah.
or $300. They're like, what? I said,
Depending on the institution, it may fluctuate and the kind of account it is.
right. But again,
Absolutely.
when you're under, I think you had to be under 18. You got it with like $25, $50. This
Okay.
is back in the 80s now. We're
Mhm.
going way back. I was like
Yeah.
40 years ago. So I
Mhm.
mean, it's different now. Times is tough now.
And I want everybody to stay tuned. 2024, for this platform, we are taking it up a notch. I am partnering with a financial institution, a credit union in my community, to have discussions about money. Yes,
Well,
money
yeah.
talks. Power Hour is going to help us to not just be great stewards, but we're going to open up our vocabulary and open up our experiences when it comes to investments, when it comes to savings versus checking versus money market. Many of us, and I will say this about myself, I found myself being intimidated by some of the technical lingo concerning money. For example, like I was able to, as I was leaving my job, we had to talk about 401ks and different stuff like that. I used to hate talking about that stuff, but your local banks and credit unions are now offering classes or webinars and things to help you even navigate your 401k through your job. And while you think it's going to be so much money in there, I hope you are investing in it and hope that you're taking advantage of these different ways to learn how much should I invest. Is it up? Is it down? Because the way this world is going, pensions are almost extinct.
Okay, not so many places do them now. And
I'm
let's
telling
not
you,
talk about Social Security
I
doing.
was the last of the Mohicans at my job, and it wasn't nothing that I thought it was gonna be. So
But
times
look,
are changing. We have got to figure out how to diversify when it comes to our money, how to pay
right.
attention to what's happening in our government as it pertains to finances. We can no longer afford to be ignorant. Whether you have
Okay.
a lot of money or
But can
don't.
I tell you this too? We gotta add credit cards to that, the
Oh,
good
we
and
gotta add
bad.
all that. We're gonna add all of that. How
Good
to
and
use
bad.
them, being careful with um paying the minimum versus maybe adding more to the minimum,
Right.
principal, interest. We gotta talk about this stuff, y'all. We up here asking God to, Lord Jesus, I need a blessing, Lord Jesus. But we're not willing to educate ourselves when it comes to finances. But you want
We
God to
got
make you a millionaire. You want God to land you 25 suitcases on your porch, when you wake up for the money. But we're not willing to start where we are now. We can't keep being afraid to have money talk with our kids, with
you
our
got
spouses, with our
parent.
sisters, brothers, whoever, our community. We
Yep.
we can do better by our money. And a part of it is honesty. We gotta come clean and be honest about our spending habits. Some of us did not grow up in homes where people were saving. We ain't had nothing to save. We moved around a lot. We went from rental home to rental home. And again, no shade. I'm not here to shade my family or anything. I'm trying to do better by my child. But I'm being honest because when we have children and the family, those children are watching us. They're
Right.
watching how we spend. They're watching how often we move. And when you move a whole lot, you're taking that child's stability. Get into
Right.
a home that you can afford.
Yes.
Don't bite off more than what you can chew. So you're not getting evicted. Now, sometimes evictions come when it wasn't your fault. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you got hurt on your job and things just happen. I get that. But many of us are out here trying to keep up with the Joneses, and we're renting these big, beautiful homes and we can't afford it. You got to
Uh,
crawl before you walk and walk before
Look
you
how
jump.
many rich people are getting evicted.
I'm seeing some dumpsters everywhere in the most beautiful, affluent neighborhoods. I'm
I'm
seeing these
talking about
people.
celebrities. Let's just call it what it is.
See?
Celebrity. Look how
See,
many celebrities then got evicted. You know how
but
many
think about that
celebrities
because they think that those millions are gonna last forever, but you went and bought a 24 bedroom, 17.5 bathroom, 20 car garage house.
for what?
So if your name ain't Beyonce or
But
Oprah,
even let's be clear, she might have the money for it, but who gonna pay the properties? You got to think property taxes,
yes,
utility bills,
yes,
maintenance,
all
housing
of that,
insurance. It's
all of
so
that.
much. So if you can't maintain the upkeep after it's paid off, what
Mm-hmm.
good is it gonna do? Because
What
you got
good?
to think
And that's
about
how you see some of these big celebrities selling these big houses. Because and I'm gonna say this, and please, y'all, forgive me if this comes out harsh. I'm just gonna say how I feel it. Our people, tend to get caught up in that because we ain't used to having much.
right,
So if one of us win the lottery and end up with 25 million or 100 million, the first thing we do is every Pookie and Ray Ray in the family. Well, I'm buying everybody a house. That's cute, but
how you gonna buy them a house when the IRS is getting damn near half right off
that's
the
the
mother?
thing. We get so caught up, and who doesn't want a nice house? Let me just be honest. I fantasize about having a beautiful home, but I have to also be practical because you want a home that's going to fit your budget
Right,
long term. I want to own a home so that my daughter has a family home that if she and her family wants it, it's in the family. I
right.
grew up in a family where my parents had multiple properties, but unfortunately, not being astute in finances, ended up losing them. Those two houses, the way that their parents set this up, that would have been their retirement. They could have had income, rental income coming in to where they could have lived wherever they wanted, and the rental income from these different houses, or they could have sold it either way, but it could have benefited them had they done right by it. And a lot of it is lack of knowledge.
Right.
We perish. We perish for the lack of knowledge. And when we are presented with inheritances, be it money or be it homes, be it stocks, be it bonds, be it a coin collection, be it whatever, many of us don't even know what to do with that stuff. Get you a financial planner if you need to.
Get
Pay
one
someone
now.
who
Don't wait
understands
till you
what
get
it
the
takes to
money.
make your money make money.
Get all that
Yes, get
credit
someone
set
that
up
can
now.
help you be smart with your decisions. I mean, I guess my point is I want us to come up higher in this new
Right.
season. For those of us who are or are aspiring to be entrepreneurs, I want us to do it smart. I want us to be good business people first, good people with our personal business.
Right.
I want us to get our personal bills right, our personal affairs right, our personal
Right.
stuff right, so that we can have those good habits in place. Okay. And then we can turn around and be good business people, professionals.
And
Because,
always be willing to change with current time. You have to know
yeah,
old business and then go with current business and learn new business.
yeah,
You might
we
not
got to
want
be
to learn.
teachable. We got to constantly be willing to learn what's the latest and greatest, what's going on out here in the wonderful world of money, finances. Maybe you should
Technology.
technology, all of that. We can't be so blind because the world is moving. Things are happening around us that affect us, and we don't want to be in the dark. And going back
Right.
to the Locked Out documentary, the interesting fact was many of these companies that owned these properties, they didn't even have offices in the state. Many of these so-called mortgage companies were outside of the country.
Right.
Buying up property for $1,000, $2,500, turning it around, renting it out, promising to make repairs, promising to make it, up to code. But because of desperation, these mamas say, well, I got to move in now. If you can just promise me you'll fix it up. And they never do. And the small print is, if you miss a payment by maybe even a day, they can come and seize your house.
Because most people feel we have until the 10th to pay,
Hmm.
which
You better
the
read that
10th,
contract.
but the 10 days is like a grace period. They can come after you anytime in those 10 days. They come on the first day, second, third, eighth, ninth, or 10th.
We are going to learn how to read contracts. If
And
it's a
also
long
balloon
contract,
payments. Can I toss out that
the
word balloon
balloon
payment?
payments, yes. And so that reminds me of when I did the documentary interview on Locked Out. The trusted banker talked to us about those adjustable rates.
Mm-hmm.
And when we went through that so-called recession of 2008ish, where everything was just going crazy when it came to the housing market, the lenders were coming out with all kind of predatory contracts, and they were creating these sweet, what so-called sweet deals for those who had gotten behind. Sign here. We're able to help you keep your home. Sign here. Oh, thank you, Jesus. The Lord sent me a ram in the bush. Lies. Keep on reading, sweetheart. It says you're going to
Mm-hmm.
have this interest rate for the first year.
Right.
But then at this juncture, it's going to double, triple, quadruple. And if you miss one payment, you lose that house. I don't care if you had the house 10 years. When that payment starts to balloon up and you miss out, boom, gone, gone. The family house, big mama's house, auntie's house. She had her kids here. Her mama had her kids. The grandmama, great grandmama had her kids here. House been in the family 200 years. Could be lost over one missed payment. All the memories in that home, we got to read the fine print. We
That's
got to
right.
slow down. No matter how desperate we are, we got to say, hold on. Before I make a move, let me get in prayer and let me get my glasses on so I can read.
Yeah,
Because these
read.
companies are taking advantage of people that are in hard times, and we are losing our property. And it's sad. Many people during the whole recession and even going back into the COVID period had to go from houses to apartments. They had to downsize to streamline. It happens. And now many of us are rebuilding. For many of us, COVID brought on extra stress. And we end up not working or on disability, no matter what it is. Things are changing. What you might have once had, you may not have anymore. So now you got to make the adjustment. We are going next year, Power Hour is going to be on steroids because we are about to tackle some content and some ideas and some principles that are going to help us be astute when it comes to money. I didn't say you had to be rich for this.
Right.
We just want to be a good steward now. So if and when God decides to give us more, we are equipped to handle it with a level mind.
Right.
Because many of us gets and it's so I understand it. When you haven't had financial freedom and you get some kind of windfall, it is so easy to just go crazy and just start buying homes, cars, whatever. But if that does happen to you, what if you did win the lottery for 10, 15 million? Would you be one of them people who like, where are they now? Broke? It's a question on
That's
the
what,
table.
that's what it is. It's like,
She had so many millions. I seen her story. She had so many millions, but she had a boyfriend who couldn't stay out of jail. She kept bailing him out, 8 million here, 10 million here. Next thing you know, wasn't nothing left, and the man left.
and this what I'm about to say is gonna be real crass and mean and hardcore to say, but I'm gonna say it too. We always worry about stranger danger, no matter what the reason. But when we're gonna be honest and talk about family danger, how
Ooh,
we're so busy protecting ourselves from the strangers or
yes,
whatever. And when I say family, it could be a family boyfriend, a sibling,
yes,
parent, cousin. And it's
yes.
not all family, but we all got one person in our family that ain't worth a damn.
This is
Darn.
this is true.
And
This is true.
we can be social around them and be
Mm-hmm.
cordial, but
Mm-hmm.
we know it's like you can't chill at my house on me.
Right.
You
That's real talk.
you cook out outside, but you
Real
can't spend
talk.
the night. Now
Real talk.
I'll be nice. I'll help you find somewhere to live. That's about the
Mm-hmm.
best I can do. You can't
Mm-hmm.
live with me, my player.
Right.
Can't. I mean, it is. And, and I've been told, what's in it? People let you live with them. I said, different circumstances. We got to be careful who and
Mm-hmm.
what type of energy we invite into our house
Oh my
because
goodness. Yes.
that
Yes.
settles on our spirit and stuff. And
Yes.
I'm not that one that talks like that per se, but I know, like, in
It's
dealing
true.
with the aides that come to my house, I can feel the energy. And sometimes when they have positive energy where they don't get mad and angry, it
Mm-hmm.
helps me stay on two. But
Mm.
when they on eight, I'm on 10 because
Okay.
they on eight. So
Okay.
I don't like. I try if you can't mix well with me as helping me, there's no need for you to be here.
Right. I agree.
They said, Sinette, you need help. Why are you getting rid of people? I said, my mental health is more than my physical health.
Ooh-wee.
Because I don't fight, but I fight with words, and words sometimes hurt more than a fist fight.
So now
I don't.
since you open that up, let's shift because we talked a lot about mental health on this platform in 2023. And this particular show, the entire premise of Critical Conversations, when the Lord gave this to me years ago, prior to Trailblazers, even, um, it had to do with a mental health issue that I was personally dealing with concerning some childhood trauma. And as a matter of fact, my very first show was with Evangelist Alma Farrell, who's in the comments. She was on my first show. Kia and Kia's daughter, Bree, were all on my show. And we were talking about how to help young people deal with certain types of trauma. The reason why I decided to open up about that is because growing up, and I'm almost 50. So my parents are from the baby boomer generation. And that particular generation that to my knowledge and in my experience, were raised to be very quiet, be very silent about
Mhm.
anything concerning molestation, rape,
Right.
sexual assault, domestic violence, mental health
Just
breakdowns,
anything,
all of
everything.
anything. We were, and I grew up in the church. So the religious aspect of this was, thank you, Evangelist Alma. The religious aspect was, if you say this stuff out loud, if you admit that you've been raped or molested, people are going to look at you differently. You're going to bring shame to your family. And as a matter of fact, let me go a little bit deeper. If you were a girl, okay,
You
a
ask
lot
for
of
it.
times you weren't even believed. You just fast. That man
Right.
ain't
The
you.
key word
You
is you
seduced
ask.
him.
You ask for it. You
You
want it.
seduced him with these little dresses you put on, and you asked to be raped or molested.
Right.
And it's unfortunate that decades and decades later, there's so many people in my age range that are still dealing with how to properly process some of the things that have happened. I had a chat with someone I know today, and she and I were talking, and I was talking about my life, and she says, "Yes, me too." I hear a lot of me too's when I share bits and pieces of my story. And even though you think you're over it and it's no point in bringing it up now, for many of us, the way that we show up in relationships, it's
Right.
because we haven't dealt with some stuff. Our anger, we haven't dealt with some stuff. There's some deep rooted hurt and pain that many of us are holding on to. I am an emotional eater. I've been obese since I was a child. I probably was I reached 200 pounds, I'm sure, before I hit 14. Before I hit 12, I was over 200 pounds. But I also experienced sexual molestation, violation at a young age, and I internalized it. So that means I'm looking for love in all the wrong places. I'm maybe overeating, overindulging in food. Ended up dealing with a much, much, much older man at a very young age because I was looking for just vulnerable. And when your own parents don't believe you, that
Right.
is a hurt that goes deeper than the actual molestation itself. So many of us as adults now in our 40s and 50s are still dealing with our past. So I decided when I joined Trailblazers that I was going to base this show on the 7 dimensions of wellness: emotional, physical, financial, spiritual, environmental, social, vocational, because I want us healed in every area,
Right.
leaving no stone unturned. And for me, if you're not emotionally well, the other stuff probably ain't gonna line up.
Right.
That's like, I mean, who you are in your emotions, your mental capacity, how you handle conflict, unresolved issues, evangelist Alma. I want us to be healed and to be able to have healthy dialogue. And I'm not just talking about women. There are men who have been violated that don't want to say anything in fear of being called feminine, homosexual, or something else. I don't discriminate against anybody. But what I will not do, I don't want people to feel as though they can't tell their story,
Right.
male or female. We need help. We need help. And to the baby boomer generation, yes, Evangelist Elma, men, they don't, and it hurts me that they don't tell. Because for one, those same uncles, aunties, neighbors, church organists, they touch the boys too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We gave our family members access to our children with the assumption they would keep them safe. Not all of them did. You
That's
keep
right.
making you keep making your son and daughter go over to Uncle so and so and Auntie so and so house, and you wonder why they come home crying, or they call me, please come get me, please come get me, please come get me. Something may be going on, or why their grades just dropped just out of nowhere, or the behavior is awkward. Something may be happening to these babies.
Mm-hmm. Pay
I'll be the
attention.
advocate if you won't. I'll be the advocate if you won't.
You gotta pay attention. You might not want to hear what the kid or person is saying, but you have to listen
Pay
and try,
attention. Pay
figure
attention
out
to
how
how they
to,
act around certain people. If they clam up around this one uncle, why was this one uncle come around, you bust out crying, or you run to another room, or you don't want to go over someone so's house? Pay attention. Pay attention. And stop dropping your kids everywhere.
right.
I know you want a break, but you got to make sure these folks ain't hurting your kids. Evangelist Alma says, listen to what kids say and what they don't say. Many of our
Right.
children, I was one of them, I didn't say nothing for years. I was afraid of what would be said about me. I was afraid that I wouldn't be believed. My worst nightmare came to pass because I wasn't, not by my mother anyway. So we have to foster an environment for our children to be comfortable talking to us, but also be careful of where you put them and who you send their way or who you have in your home. Sisters, I've been lonely too, but you can't have every dude in your house.
Okay.
You gotta date with caution. Get you a decent babysitter and go out instead of having this dude laying up with you. These strange men laying up with you.
Mm-hmm.
You are creating an environment of danger. We got a comment here. It says, pay attention. You can learn something from spoken and unspoken words. Protect your children. Being unprotected has hurt me. I'll never be the same. It is God that is healing me. It is God that is helping me forgive. Being left exposed, unprotected because of a man. I'm your child. I'm your child. When parents or moms or whoever send their kids off to the grandparent, well, he don't want me to have no kids, or she don't like my children. Don't deal with them.
Right.
Those are your babies. Don't pick nobody over your kids to where you just gonna whisk them off to another relative's house for them to raise them. Do you know what that does to that child psychologically?
Mm-hmm.
Can I tell you that? It makes you not want to trust nobody.
Mm-hmm.
If your mama can't protect you, who gonna protect you?
That's and a lot of things are hard as a child. I didn't realize how hard it
Yes.
was for my parent, but I also say, as an adult, I can respect how hard it was for you to make decisions on what you did. But when you choose to, when I say voluntarily choose to have kids, you gotta voluntarily choose to raise them yourself and do
Yes.
all of that. Now, again, if something happened to you where you didn't want it and you became pregnant, then that's an easier situation to deal with. But when you voluntarily do it, thank God for my siblings. I'm glad they're here. But love my mother, but I look at some of the decisions she made for a woman with the intelligence level of hers. It was like, how you going from being a level 10 to being a negative million? I don't understand.
Wow. Wow. If your child says they want to talk, then listen and be present in your children's lives. Let me tell
Right.
you this.
Oh, thank God they said brothers. Oh my goodness.
Yes. Yes. That's what it says. Brothers, dads, be present and accounted for in your, even though that you and that woman may not be getting along well.
Right.
That child that you have co-created, that child needs you. And if she is fighting you and not allowing you to be with that child, take her to court.
Bottom line.
Take her to court
Because
for access to your child. The
especially
children will thank you for that.
today's days, it's easier for a man to do that. Back in the day when we were younger, it was harder because 80% of the time the child automatically went with the woman.
Right,
Back in the like 90s, 80s, 70s, it was unless the woman died, the man wasn't getting the child.
right,
That's
right.
the
And that's
unfortunate thing.
sad but true. But true. I want to see more brothers stand up for your children, no
Right.
matter how Tasmanian devilish that woman is acting, because she mad because you don't want her no more. Because women, y'all stop being heathens and acting like because he ain't with you, he can't see his child. Let me tell you how horrible you are.
I'm making it about the money. As much as you need the money, Sometimes just letting that child be with their daddy or their mama, depending on the case, it can change that whole child's personality.
And but
It
that's when
makes
you're focused on the child. Even
right,
just because the relationship was a bust, this child is here now.
and they need you.
Don't get so obsessed with the man that you deny that child their father.
Right.
Where are your motives? Where are your listen? Here we go, right here. Bitter baby mamas and daddies destroy children. Yes, they do.
And can I say something to the men out there? And women, don't get mad at me. But men, you also get so caught up in what their body look like, and then you say
Ooh.
she got pregnant. She didn't get pregnant by herself because you went at her. If I can be honest, you didn't put nothing on your hot dog. You want
See?
your hot dog without the bun.
Yes. And look what happens when you do
Now
that.
you got little Vienna sausages rolling around
See?
the pan out
See?
here.
But
And
okay, well then let's go there because what I'm finding in our community, I can't speak for nobody else's community, but I know what I see as women. Why do we think that when we get a new boyfriend, we got to have a kid by every boyfriend?
or cause he got money. Cause that money
Well,
don't
no,
last.
even hear that. We,
But
I think we feel like having a child by a man
will
is
keep
going
him.
to keep them.
It don't.
And that's a sad, sad line of thinking. So if you have 7 boyfriends in the course of 7 years, many of them have 7 kids. And let me say this, I am not trying to be judgmental to those of you who have multiple child daddies. My baby wasn't born in wedlock either. But my concern is why we feel as though every time we change partners, we're not protecting ourselves. So we have multiple children. So now you got multiple baby dads that you're now dealing with. Now, Grace
We got
being
to talk about the men too, because the men out there having babies with every. eh,
it goes both ways.
How that song go? Don't trust a big butt and a smile. You know,
Desperation and the need to keep a man around. So what you said, Sinette, is twofold. We have these men and no shade, but on the
right?
man's side, I'm not a man, but what I see is they like the big butts, they like the big whatever. I want her. Okay, you got her. You got her. She's pregnant. And now you up to the next big butt.
And then you find out though too that one, whether she had it or not, she was only with you because you had money. Like again, now
Wow.
you just look at the celebrities. They keep, I love Nick Cannon, but let's be clear, he bugging. Cause what I mean, not that his problem, he got all those kids is not a problem, cause he can afford it. But why does every woman come around think she gonna get the same amount as the last woman? He got like 8, 9, 10
Wow.
kids before you. You're not gonna have
Yeah.
be able to get it by the time the money comes to you. Ain't hardly none left. The
Right.
only
We got
two
to
he
kind of,
really
you as a man and a woman have a responsibility to protect yourself. Stop thinking that choices don't have consequences. Now, here's the thing, and this is a good segue. In 2023, we asked ourselves 2 questions. How are we dating and are we ready for love? When you
Mhm.
are in the dating process and you're so quick to jump to the physical, that's how many of these children are getting here. Nobody want to talk. Nobody want to go on a date. Nobody want to
Just
get to know
jumping
each
in the
other.
bed.
We are laying up in this season.
But you know what I say, and you gonna laugh at me for this one. I said kids are a blessing, but a STD is a curse. So
Ooh, baby.
because I don't want that curse, I can slow down the chance of getting that blessing till I'm ready. Because as much as they are a blessing is not always good on the first night. That
That's
one
true.
night stand blessing you can be blessed with a kid, but be also cursed with a headache. Which
And if
one?
all you
Is
have is if all you have is a sexual connection, if you haven't gotten to know this person on a level of a friend, a confidant, you're not asking questions, you're not getting to know them, you're not going to the movies and enjoying walking by the water. All you have is this sexual thing. So, and you wondering why they go from person to person. There's
But you have to protect yourself, like
what is
what
there?
your father said. You gotta protect yourself. If
You
you
do.
know that you're not the only one, you gotta protect yourself. Now,
But
I'm
as
not
a
gonna let
woman, though, do we even know what our true assets are? Many of us as women, we only think that our body is all that we have to offer.
we
Look
do,
at how we dress.
but look, we know what our assets are, but we think that with that we can grab a man and keep a man. That's
Wow,
not true. We gotta
not true.
let's be clear. Most men will physically get with you and be with you because they're physically attracted to you. But how long? The soon as you start gaining weight, soon as you have that baby, you think they're gonna stay with you?
See? It's superficial. We got a comment. If you know how this dude or woman gets down and you still make the choice to not protect yourself, then you deal with the consequences of the
That
choice. That's true. And I'm gonna go a step further. If you know he already got 8 other kids and he ain't half doing for them, but
right?
you still lay down with him and you mad because he ain't doing for yours, but you already knew he had 8 other ones. And no offense, dudes, but I'm just saying. Same
And
thing
this
with the
is
guys.
just
If
for
you
the
know
ones
she
that
got
don't.
20 kids already, and here you come, you're gonna give her number 21. I mean, we're not, I guess our decision making or lack of discernment, as Fred is saying, is getting us caught up in some stuff that is really hurting us. Now, I am not out. Let me say how I say this. My daughter is 20, and I've only been married for 5 years. Do the math. I'm not perfect. Okay. But what I learned is when you decide to deal with a person on an intimate level, sexual level, whatever you want to call it, you gotta know what you're getting into, especially unprotected, y'all. In the heat of the moment, these
And
little
you gotta
seven.
use your brain. You can't let the physical and the visual overshadow your brain.
Ooh wee! Look at how high you are before you jump. That's the real deal though. And when I asked the question, how are we dating? I asked that because for one, I'm getting ready to be back into the dating pool. And I'm nervous because I'm a talker. And I used to get people tell me, these was like, you talk too much. I just want to come lay down with you. No. I mean, I
You,
don't know you like
you
that.
can handle
Like,
me
cut to the
talking.
chase.
What
What
you
you
gonna
got
do
on?
later?
Get to the chase. What you wearing? What you doing? What you this? What is
Mm-mm.
that? I mean,
If they
how am I
can't
going to
handle
get to
you
know
now, they
you?
can't handle you 5 minutes from now.
Ooh, you know what, Mr. Beatty,
I
I heard
agree.
that. I heard that the dating pool is contaminated.
I believe that.
But we're gonna
Go
talk about
ahead.
that even more in this upcoming season. And if you watched any of our shows concerning dating, we're talking about some of our expectations when it comes to dating. And you have to find out that you are on the same page, even with the person in terms of why you're dating. Are you dating with the purposes of marriage or sex or companionship? Or I mean, you got to get to the point where, and they
You
got
gotta have
all
them
these
hard
different sites
conversations.
now. Say it again, Sinette.
You gotta have them hard conversations.
And if he or she don't want to have a conversation, I think that's your exit papers. Because I
Because
already know me, I'm gonna be asking some questions in this new season of my life.
right,
But
you
first
got
of all, I'm cooling. I'm gonna do a cool down. We talked about that. Not jumping into something too quickly. When you come out of a
Yeah,
marriage,
rebound,
long
rebound.
term relationship, you have got to give yourself that
At
cool
least six
down.
months to a year.
You
I
gotta
say,
cool
depending
down.
how long you've been with that person.
Yeah. Because if you get back out there rebounding, you are bound to repeat some of the same cycles that
Now
you
you
just came
might
out of.
disagree with me on this one. There's nothing wrong with going out on a dinner date, but I'm talking about romantically, like serious relationship. It's
Mhm.
like maybe going dating might be a strong word. Maybe go and hang out with a guy. Say it.
Yeah. Even
That's
even in a
fine,
group setting, even this gonna sound real old school, but back when I was growing up, we were discouraged from having too many one-on-one alone dates.
right?
It was more encouraged that you got into a group setting, like we were in a part of the youth department. And if we going skating, we going to see a movie, we're going whatever, and you went places in a group and you kind of got to know people. Oh, I kind of like them, kind of feeling them. And then the next step might be asking your parents back then, would they possibly chaperone, a date? I think that we need to re-examine and reevaluate what dating really is
But see,
and
you
what it
know what
looks
it is though. The blessing is we're older and we know more
like.
than we
Oh,
did.
absolutely.
So those
Absolutely, Sinette.
those rules work, yes. But if you decide not to go in the group state, that's fine too. Because
Yeah, yeah.
you know what to do, you know what to look
You
for.
grown and you should know your limitations. Cycles are repeated by folks who don't learn the lessons of why the cycle started in the first place. Yes. And the thing is this, whether you decide to use the dating apps, whether you like are into people matchmaking with you, however you end up getting to these people, the key is ask questions, pay attention. I understand like this time of year is cuddle time. And even when I was married, and I am still married, people come up out of the woodworks. Is this still your number? Block. Cause it's cold outside. Folks
But
be
you
looking
know
up
what?
to the
That and now
phone.
that you said that, cause that go with part line with that scamming thing, with them
Mhm,
dating apps and Craigslist and all those things.
mhm.
People are scamming. They want to get with you because they need you for to stay in the winter. Soon as March, April hit,
They
now
gone.
they want to act brand new.
They gone.
Really? This like
Mhm.
November to February, I was your queen. I was this.
Yes.
Now I'm not even your footstool. You just gone.
See? And we also be careful. I know y'all are out here using Facebook has ways to meet people. I'm just gonna say be careful. I knew
When
I know
people
of
start
one
asking for
couple.
money,
I know
and
of a couple who is on their way to marriage, and I'm loving it. But you gotta really be careful. However you meet the person, you
we're-
need to be careful. I don't
right,
care if you meet at your church. You need to be careful. You
don't be
don't know
throwing no
everybody
money
who's
out.
in the church house doesn't have good intentions.
Cause you know
No.
what I say
You
though.
got people still catfishing.
You gonna laugh at
It's
me. I
still
say,
catfishing going on out here.
well, check this out.
What's
Now,
that?
if you wanna pay for somebody dinner, that's reasonable in that range of spending money. But when someone we only known each other 3 months, and you want me to buy you a whole outfit and a pair of sneakers, and that outfit and
Mm-mm,
sneakers cost $1,000, you ain't my man. I said
mm-mm.
I ain't even getting no cutter. Why am I gonna spend $1,000 on you and you ain't even cuddling me?
But there are some women that would do that just to have that man. That's the
I'm
sad
a
part,
cheapskate.
Jeanette.
Maybe that's why I ain't never been married. Cause I'm too
Just to say I have somebody, there are things that women have been willing to accept and deal with just to say I have someone. Gather intel. Intel gathering should be the most important thing to use in the dating process, meaning I want to be around you in different settings.
right.
I want to see how you are in the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Like how they say you
Yes,
want to see them in all 4 seasons.
all four. Mr. Beatty, catfishing is going on in these social media streets because people are creating fake profiles
Right.
and pretending to be people. But when it comes to church dating, people are just pretending to be someone that they're not. And you have to be careful because just because someone is so-called Christian or they're a church person, before I got married, some of the biggest sexual heathens was church brothers.
Do you
I'm
know how
talking
many pastors and ministers I see at the club uh,
in the
shutting down
inbox.
the club? They be in the club with me drinking and carrying on.
And it's hurtful. It's actually like, and I understand that pastors and preachers and ministers are human, but the problem is, why are you in my inbox soliciting me? And you supposed to be, a man of the cloth.
And I'm gonna say something that people are not gonna agree with me. If a minister is trying, it depends on how he's coming at me. If he's
Mhm,
coming at me in a respectful way, I can
mhm.
listen. But most
Right.
importantly, if you got a wife, you shouldn't be inboxing me like that.
That part. This is a comment from Evangelist Alma. It says you have to ask the man what he's interested in. Put a bookmark there. That way you know what his intentions are. I love that. Some years back, I had this conversation with someone that I knew. I had been knowing him about a year. One day out of the blue, he called me. He told me how beautiful I was and he wanted to get to know me. Okay. After that sentence, he said to me, I need you to know that I'm not looking for a relationship. So, my next question to him was, what are you looking for? Casual sex? Well, I wasn't shocked. That's what he was looking for. So, ladies, you have to ask. Thank you for saying that. And let's stay there for a minute. So, and this is this is what got me. I asked the gentleman prior to getting married what he was looking for. And he told me he was not looking for a relationship. It wasn't that he wanted sex, but he had just came out of a long-term, very serious relationship. I kind of figured that person was probably in a church, Evangelist Alma, when you said that. So when the gentleman tells me, he told me this before I got married, Latanya, I'm telling you now, I don't want anything serious. I'm still kind of hurting, from this tumultuous breakup. The last woman and I was supposed to get married and it just didn't go. So he told me that. Okay, keep that in your mind. Now, I, being me, decided, well, I am looking for relationship and I heard him say that he didn't. But when I get through putting my feminine charm on him, oh, he gonna change his mind when he sees how wonderfully I treat him. When he sees me treat him as a king, he's gonna change that, and he's gonna miraculously say, "Dear Latanya, comma, you have changed my mind." It don't work like that. When a
Okay,
brother, just like she just said, Evangelist Alma said, she asked him, he told her, she governed herself accordingly. Many times, ladies, we know what these dudes want and don't want. And
right.
we still step over the threshold anyway, thinking we're going to bat our little eyelashes and switch our little BBLs
Yeah, we
and
was
we're going
switching.
to get out of here. You got a BBL, she got a BBL, the whole wild world got a BBL.
Everybody paying for it. Ain't natural. You'll be
Baby,
on that show that used to come on the E Network. The two doctors that botched. You'll be
botched.
on that.
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna be
Yes.
up there not. Yeah,
Yes, Fred, men need to ask women the same question. And I hate to make it sound like, it's all about, women per se, but I can only speak from being a woman. But to your point, a man that's single that wants to date with a purpose should be asking these same questions
right.
because I hate to see a man taken advantage of by a gold digging woman. I hate it. I
And
hate
that
it.
unfortunately, sadly, that happens.
I
I
hate
mean,
it.
men and women, we have to be smart. Both sides have to be smart.
But we gotta ask the questions. And then here's the clue. If he don't want to tell you, you probably should run.
And we have to be okay with saying no. We have to
Yeah.
realize sometimes it's just to say no and, like you said, walk away.
Walk
Sometimes
away.
you're better off just being friends. Just be
Yes.
friends. Take
Yes.
the emotion, take the physical, take
Yes.
all of that out of it and just leave it as look at that person as a brother or sister.
And be okay with that for a minute. During the cool down period, ladies and gentlemen, when you are coming out of a marriage, when you're coming out of a relationship, as you are going through this cool down, rediscovering yourself, realigning yourself with the Lord, whatever you got to do to get yourself back together, be okay with just friends. And don't add no extra benefits to it. Be
Right.
okay with just having a chicken wing and a Sprite. I'll see you next time. See you at church. See you at work, whatever. Okay. See you later, whatever. Because when you cross that line, when you and you can act like you so big and bad, well, I can cross the line without getting all in those stuff. Lies, lies. Quit lying to yourself. Intimacy and sexuality and being in the bed with people, it creates these feelings. It creates these feelings. Yes, people are chameleons. They will tell you one thing and then switch up just to get what they. Oh, wow.
Facts.
Good point. You can ask, sometimes you can't ask a person what they want.
And they
And
outright
they'll
lied to
say,
you with
you
a
know
straight
what?
face.
Yeah, I'm dating with a purpose too. I'm all for being abstinent. I'm all for this. I'm all for that, just to get you to a certain place. And then they try. Yeah, that can
Hmm.
happen too. And dating, I mean, I hate to put it like this, but it has risks.
Yeah.
It has risks. We got to get out of here. This 2 hours is just flowing by. I want to say again, Sanette, thank you
Thank you.
to all of my people who've been rocking with me all of 2023. We going up higher. We started Girl Chat Weekly this year. Oh my God. I can't not talk about that. We started our own 60 minutes all about women for women. We talked about menopause, we talked about diet, exercise, and this next year, we're going to go even deeper, dealing with our women's issues, our health, our wealth, how we show up in relationships, our mental health, our financial health. I want you to stay locked and loaded here because we are bringing in some experts. And by the way, if anybody out there has a business and you want to advertise your business, your event on either this show or any of our shows on Trailblazers, all you have to do is reach out to us. We have excellent and affordable pricing for you to be able to be a sponsor, advertising sponsor. We would love to be able to shout you out, get your business, your book. If you're an author and you want to promote your book, this is why we're here. We're really big on supporting other entrepreneurs as well. So please get in contact with us. Our email address is trailblazers with a Z radio@gmail.com. So get in contact with us so that we can set up a plan that will work for your budget so we can get your business out here to our listeners. We have people all over the country and really all over the world who tune in to our platform. And yes, 2003 and 2024. Thank you. The year of critical conversations. I love it. And I don't know about you, but we've talked about forgiveness, and God has been working with me this year, particularly in that area. I still have a ways to go. I'm
Hmm.
still being healed of some stuff. So please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. But I just believe that if we keep on talking, that God to keep on healing. Confession breeds healing. There is nothing that has happened to you that I don't believe that God can heal us from. And sometimes just talking through it and giving it a voice, will help us to maneuver through the pain and come out triumphant. It's been such a weight lifted off of me to talk about stuff. And to be honest, I spent so many years silent because that's what I was taught. You don't give voices to your pain. No, you keep it inside and let it eat you in the insides. Forgiveness is always for the transgressed. We got to do this for us. We are walking
Right.
around hurting. Forgiveness frees us and it makes sure that we are in good standing with the Lord. That's the most important part. I ain't missing Jesus over nothing and nobody, honey. So I thank you all for rocking with me. Please stay tuned. This upcoming year is going to be even better. I am so excited about what God is getting ready to do in and through all of us. Power Hour Girl Chat. We're getting ready to be healthy and whole in every area. So I'll see you next year. Power Hour will be Monday, um, probably about 1:30ish will be our first power hour of the year, and we're going to come out swinging. We're going to be paying our bills. We're going to be doing some self assessment. We're going to be couponing. We're going to be saving. We're going to be budgeting. We're going to be better. So I wish you all a good night. Again, Sinette, love you much. Thank you, Brother Fred, for being in the comments. Please share, please tag, and I will see you next year.
See you
Bye,
next year.
everybody.
Bye.